Good morning. Thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you.
You will need
Yes, I
a
don't
translation.
Yes, I don't want to make mistake in translations. That's why I will use.
Yes, please do, because you'll be talking to me mainly today. Okay, so you'll need that. Okay. So again, welcome. We have a full quorum of our commission. We have 2 members online, and then the 4 of us here. And I will be leading the questioning of you today, and other commissioners will join in as needed. We will encourage you to be brief in your answers. And is it
a problem with this phones? No problem.
Did you hear any of what I said?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, I'm going to be the lead questioner. My other commissioners will join in. Please keep your answers as brief as you can, and we'll start, okay? Are you ready to start? Okay, good. So first, I'm going to provide some context for this line of questioning. In the explanations you have provided during the competition for the position of NABU director, you mentioned several times the income from your mother's business, Tatiana Gupyac, the amount of which she has refused to disclose for security reasons. In the explanations you provided during this competition for the National Agency for Corruption Prevention, you stated that there are no specific security threats at this moment to your mother, but you also reported that your mother's property has been subject to repeated offenses in the past, and you have provided an explanation for the absence of data on this income in the tax service register. So this is an important area because sources of income are important for understanding the overall level of financial disclosure of you, right? And so we have some questions that we'd like to clarify with you in this regard, okay? Can you tell us what kind of business your mother was engaged in from the period 1999 to 2019?
Дякую за запитання.
Thank you for your question. So what I can say that my mother was an entrepreneur, and she was registered in 1999, and her activity was related to trade, so small-scale trade in different items such as drinks, some sweets. So there was no need to require to obtain a license. So not the drinks which would require a license, but just soft drinks. And she was engaged in these activities till 2011. And then she closed in 2019 closed her status as an entrepreneur. And as for this lack of a desire to disclose income, that is a bit different thing, because I meant not the lack of desire to show income for some time, but rather lack of desire to provide information about the savings that my parents have. That is what I meant, not to disclose the amount of savings publicly. If it is required by the Commission, I can provide this information as well. But as for the income of my mother, in the tax register, there is no data in electronic format because the register was updated several years ago, and the information about people who stopped their activities before a certain period was not uploaded automatically, but this information can be provided by the tax service at the request. So if my mother requests or if the commission requests. For example, I can say that my mother, she had her accounting, so she provided me with some data and I can disclose it. In 2002, for example, her income was 114,000, and the exchange rate considering it was over $21,000 per year. In 2007, the income in hryvnias was 229,000 hryvnias and 45,000 US dollars. Or in the next year, it was 237,000 hryvnias, so a bit more than 45,000 US dollars. So this income was enough to cover the cost and also have some savings. And taking part in the competition in the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, there was also a question about some property acquired together with my mother, and I was told that there was a sale of property and which was sold according to a contract. So making like requests was not necessary because we were able to confirm in this way that based on the documents provided that the money was enough.
Thank you. So can you tell us more about the offenses against her property, the offenses that you alluded to, and when they were, what they were committed, how much damage was caused, whether there were investigations into these cases, etc.
Детальну інформацію, звичайно, я надати не можу, тому що
I cannot provide detailed information because my mother actively work from up to 2011 only, but for what I remember from what my parents told me, that there were people who got into the premises and stole some equipment, some devices, and also that people got into the premises to try to find some money, and these cases were reported to police. There was some investigation, but I do not know about any cases when people were punished for it. But could you describe what kind of premises and what kind of equipment are you mentioning? Because we only can imagine some abstract things. Well, it was premises where popcorn was produced and popcorn making equipment. I want to tell members of the Commission that we got a reply from the tax service about the income of your mother. So we have this document we can see, but it is not translated into English yet. We have it in Ukrainian because we got this statement from the tax service just today. And we are in the process of translating it.
Thank you for those answers. And also thank you for offering to provide us with further information if we need it. We will review the information received today, and we will be in touch with you about whether we require further information from you.
May I ask
Sure.
some small thing? Ми з фабули однієї з судових справ, яка стосується
One of the court cases, your
році,
mother, we showed that in 2011, she tried to buy some real estate in a tender. And for what I understand, there was no good results of this situation. So it did not happen, and she did not receive this property. So could you explain a bit? Well, from what I know, based on the information that I was provided with, my parents wanted to purchase some commercial property, and they wanted to use for their entrepreneurial activities. One of the objects was in Vinica city. It was arrested because the owner of this property did not pay that debt to the bank. That is why this object was an object of public tender. So my mother was the winner of the tender. She complied with all her obligations, from what I remember. But later, some court proceedings started between the former owner, the executive service, and my parents. And it led to a situation when the agreement was not signed, and there was restitution. So this object was returned to the previous owner. So the cost of this property was 155,000 hryvnias. So based on the information that you have, do you think that your parents had enough savings to buy this property? I cannot say for sure because I was not responsible for accounting for my parents' business, but from what I know about the income in 2010 and when the income was $29,800 this year. So I think that she was quite a successful entrepreneur during these years. I can assume, yes, my parents were able to buy this, but maybe if I had more time, I would be able to sit with my mother and we would try to make some calculations so that she could show me that she had this amount of savings at that moment. Another thing that we noticed, just a little bit maybe strange thing about family relations, or maybe it is not strange, it depends. In 2010, 2011, your sister's husband paid 102,000 to your mother and 146 your sister, who was his wife. I'm just interested because the source of your mother's income, and this income could be used to procure this property. So this money was actually coming from family members, and that's why we had this question. I do not know the answer to this question right now because I did not know about the situation and about some financial relations between my family members. So why it happened and what it is about, I do not know at the moment. I need some time to talk to my family members to ask them what happened. So nobody ever asked me this question before when I was running for the NABU competition. And you see, so you can always find something new about yourself and your family. And the last question. in the register of legal persons and physical persons entrepreneurs, your mother states 9 different types of activities. I understand that she was engaged in a business for 20 years, but still, yes, the key type of activities is mentioned as trade at street markets and in other settings. So was it her main source of income? Based on what I heard, based on the information I have in the period I mentioned, yes, so this trade was the main source of income. It happened not in a street market, but in the central park of Vinnytsia. There were this vending places where my mother was selling things that I mentioned. So this is what I know. This is what I can tell you. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with the answer. So, Andrei, we are talking about property which was to be purchased in 2010. So the amount declared in 2010 was 237,000 hryvnias.
Very good. So we're going to change topics now and talk about the work you've been doing as the head of the SBI investigation department in Vinnytsia. In 2021, you, in your role, received a statement from a person named Roman Maselko, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, regarding criminal offenses under Articles 384 and 366 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine. And you, in your role as head of the department, made the decision not to enter that information on the application into the United Register of...
Yes, I have a problem. Yes.
Are we better? Are we good? You know what?
Воно перебиває, одне слово чути, інше не чути. Тобто з речення половину слів чути, половину не чути.
I hear one word, then I don't hear another word, so I only hear half of the words from a sentence.
Why don't you read this question? She's going to read the question.
So I'm gonna read the question in Ukrainian. In 2025, according to the information that we have, you as the head of the investigation department in Vinnytsia, you got a statement of Roman Maselko on the criminal offense as according to the articles of the criminal law of Ukraine, and you decided not to enter this data from the statement to the unified register, and you did not start the investigation. And later on the 15th November, your lack of activity was recognized as unlegal, that it violated the law. So what was your motivation to not enter this data into the register? Thank you for this question. This is within the norms of current criminal legislation. I think that it is a routine question. It's just routine work, consideration of statements on criminal offenses. And 2012, new criminal procedure code was approved, stipulating a very different approach in this process. And it had the principle of competition, and there was an institute of new a judge to be able to have appeals and complaints at any stage of the investigation. And according to the current practices and the position of the High Court of Ukraine, it is possible not to enter data and statements to the unified register. So not all data is put into this unified register, only those where there are enough justification of a criminal offense. So what does it tell us? It tells that there is such an opportunity to refuse and do not enter data in the unified register if there are no grounds.
The law provides the opportunity to the applicant to appeal and to come to an investigative judge. And so in this case, this person exercised his right, and this is a normal situation. There are many, many decisions like this. Almost every day, situations like this happen. So I don't see any issue in this situation. I don't remember exactly this case, but I can assume that if it was about Article 364 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine, so the person needed to substantiate the harm which was caused to the person, because Part 1 and Part 2, that's property damage. I assume that the person did not state the level of damage or the reasons that why this person believes that that was a criminal violation. So that is why this procedure was enacted. But what I would like to add, so the essence, and this is normal, I believe that it is normal that the person can appeal, because if you go in the other direction, so if you talk about the Code of Soviet Union, now investigators make decision about the closing of criminal proceeding because there is no subject of the criminal violation. But if we assume that we can just come to the conclusion that the person didn't provide enough information, I believe that we are not working the right direction. So in this situation, so that it was not added to unified registry, and then this application, it is normal process of competitive justice. What if the court decision is against you? Are there any consequences for you? I mean, internally? Maybe to change some approaches, some administrative conclusions, so managerial conclusion, if the court decision makes a decision against you. No, we make conclusion about the evaluation of the situation, why this decision was made, and how a judge substantiated this decision. So there is this decision of the court does not oblige us to put this application into a unified registry. And the case, so if the court obliges to include it into unified registry and to tell you that then it would lead to some real criminal procedure, no, it never happens. This is some courts, they make decision that everything needs to be registered. But if we include into unified register everything, then you can only imagine how this registry would look like. And other courts also have different position, and sometimes Supreme Court, they have this position too, that they believe that we have the right not to include it, not to register. And I see, Laura, you have a question.
Yes, I would like to ask our candidate if in this position that we are discussing now, head of the investigative unit in the SBI, did he ever experience political interference or pressure?
Я перекладу, напевно. Чи, будучи in current position, Laura, in current position,
In the
you mean-
position at the State Bureau of Investigation in the Khmelnytsky region.
Yes.
Ага. Чи відчували ви політичний...
So did you feel political pressure when you had this position in Vinnytsia? No, no political pressure. I even stated that in my clarifications. So the bureau has existed for 3 years, and I never had any issues that I was forced to do certain actions towards people. I only had support in this position and provided the assistance, and I always received all the necessary assistance from my managers.
We have one more question for you. Can you go ahead and
Oh,
ask question
second.
2? Yep.
Yeah, окей. За інформацією у медіа, після того, як...
According to the information in media, after you were one of the winners on the position of the head of NABU, there were 3 winners who were submitted, and another person was appointed. The Prime Minister, Denis Shmyhal, recommended Semen Kravanos to appoint you to the position of his deputy or any other top position. So the question of the commission is the following. Have you discussed with Semen Kravanos or any other person about that? And if yes, what proposal did you get? And why you did not take this position? Because now you're participating in this election. Thank you for this question. I can state that no, I didn't talk to Semen Kravanos or anybody else about the possibility for me to be appointed as a deputy head of NABU. In the explanations which were provided, I described why Prime Minister could state this position, because after the selection was over, on the day when there was a voting of 5 ministers, so there was a detailed interview with us, with 3 of us, and the Prime Minister studied the provided documents about each of the winners. And I could see that the answers that I provided, he liked. I presented some of my ideas about my vision of how to develop the Bureau in anti-corruption strategy. I think that he liked my ideas, and so it's just my logical assumption that it was his own initiative to present this position, which was based on meeting all 3 candidates and the documents we provided. But each 3 winners had a lot of advantages which other person didn't have. So this, like all 3 of us, we were quite balanced, and we had some advantages that other people didn't have.
Okay. So I think we're good. Mr. Gupyac, thank you very much. Your interview is now concluded. Thank you for your time this morning and for the effort you made to get here and answer our questions, and for your service. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're going to now take a break.